Hello, and happy Friday. Thank you, everyone, for joining in. I am so excited for today's session. We have Dr. Farzana, and look, let me take a step back, guys. So, the She Has Infinite Potential panel has amazing women on it, and Dr. Farzana is one of our shipmates. And so, I'm super excited to be able to interview her today and really get into some of the research and the specialty that she brings. So there's going to be some serious gems on mentorship today. So if this is something that you or someone you know is looking to get more information on, make sure you send this live to them so that they can get the information. But for those of you who don't know me, my name is Malia Lim, and I will be your captain for today here on the She Has Infinite Potential ship. Dr. Farzana is a human excellence strategist. So, Dr. Farzana, I'll go ahead and let you introduce yourself.
Thank you, Malia, for the kind words about what we are doing over here and how we are working on enhancing the leadership and especially focusing on the talent of women in diversified industries. My name is Farzana Chohan, and I am focused on optimizing the human excellence in our working world, especially in our corporations and technical aspects of the corporations. There is a lot of research which has been done that why corporations, companies, and organizations lag behind when they do not have a true sense of belonging and culture of excellence among their team members. So that is what I focus on as my work. I have a lot of different credentials, but you can always visit my LinkedIn profile and get familiar with it. Back to you, Malia.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Farzana. And so, just a general note, if you guys enjoy our interviews and you want to know more about each of the individual shipmates, let us know in the comments. Because we can do interviews with every single one. I mean, we all have something very unique. This collective group was hand selected. So every single member brings something very unique and special to the group. And so if you want to hear more about our individual stories, let us know in the chat and we'll do more of these one-on-one interviews with shipmates. So today our topic is mentorship. This is something that we brought up last week, and today we're going to do a deeper dive. So Dr. Farzana is an expert when it comes to this. This is literally something that she spent so much of her life and so much of her time really digging into. So for those of us that don't know, what is mentoring?
So, to pick up where you left, those of us who don't know, I think many of us have heard the word mentoring and have some kind of idea about mentoring. Why do I say this? Because we can go back as far back as 3,000 years ago, when in Greek mythology, the concept of mentoring was mentioned in Homer's poem. That is how old it is. So, what is mentoring in classical form? It is considered to be a learning and developmental opportunity by having a senior and experienced person guiding you in your life and in your profession. That is the classical definition of mentoring. The more modern definitions of mentoring is that it is a form of social learning where someone with more experience, for example, in your company, a senior person, will guide you on all the technical aspects or certifications to become certified or licensed. And then, in general, in the company, a senior person will be given to a junior person to have that developmental path chalked out. There is a lot of research which has been done on this topic also, but this is what mentoring is.
So at the core of it, it's really having someone who's more senior, more advanced, who has the experience and the know-how, really sharing that information and helping someone along their journey. I love it.
Yes,
I
that
love it. I mean, I've had a few mentors that have really just opened my eyes to how things work and really just help break down steps to be able to accomplish some of the goals that I thought were too big, and they were just like, hey, if you just do XYZ, you make significant progress. And so having someone who's already walked that path is extremely invaluable. So Dr. Farzana, I wonder, why have you chosen to dedicate so much time and research to mentor?
That is a great question. When I look back, hindsight is always 2020. Where I stand today, the successes and the levels of achievement I have, there is a long list of mentors behind it. They were not formally titled as mentors, but they informally did everything what they could have done. So they, for the lack of any better term, they handholded, they showed that what are the key landmarks in the progress and development. I'll go back and give an example. When I started in architecture as a very young junior girl architect, where the concept of being in male work environment was not as common for young girls, and for the first of 6 months and a year, I felt like my back is to the brick walls. I'm standing in front of a solid brick wall, and I have no other way except to exit from it. My immediate boss made me feel like I don't exist. But what changed in that process is that I reached out to the senior most leader in the organization, and I asked for his guidance, what I can do. And he very kindly paid attention and guided me. So that mentoring, that hand holding, and that open door that you can come and ask for any technical and non technical aspect of navigating this field became a pathway to continue, and with my resilience and with everyone's resilience we can continue. So that example set the level of going to the next level and to the higher level, and that's why I pay so much attention to the mentoring. And it was not just that one person. From that point onward, I always looked out for who is helping and guiding. And I have learned that when you seek that out, that helps a lot. So that is why I have chosen mentoring and the research on mentoring as the key focal element of the developmental journey. And I did a doctoral research on mentoring and especially focusing on male work environments like science, technology, engineering, mathematics, and more, and how especially women who were in a minority in the beginning of in these professions, how they can learn more about mentoring and how they can help and support other junior members in the field, both male and females. And that is where my heart is in mentoring.
Wow, Dr. Farzana, thank you so much for sharing that story with us. I mean, I know when I first started, I also had someone try and make me feel invisible, right? And so like having that validation, having someone care about you, having somebody, hold your hand, because especially when you're new, you don't know, and you just need guidance. It's not that we're afraid of the work, it's just we just don't know just yet. And so I want to highlight how much bravery it took to be able to reach out and say, hey, I need help. I need somebody to acknowledge that I'm here and that I want to do a good job. Because a lot of times we're told, don't ruffle feathers and, be the quiet girl, just do your job, put your head down, do your job. And so there's a lot of fear that can go along with reaching out, and you not only took that experience to benefit your career, but now you're taking it to the next level and teaching other women how to do the same. And so I also want to encourage folks that are listening. Yes, we're talking about mentorship from the perspective of you gaining a mentor. But if you're listening and you're in a position to mentor somebody else, I want to encourage you to do it, because you never know how much of an impact that's going to have. I mean, Dr. Farzana had a successful career because of mentors, but now she has also taken that experience and teaching other women how to get mentorship. The impact, the sphere of influence that the original mentor had on this woman's life and the women that she's able to impact, it's just exponential. And so you never really know, though you might just be helping one person in one season of their career, what that leads to in the long run. And so it's really about us supporting each other and encouraging each other. And that's how we move forward as professionals, as industries, as companies. And so if you're listening to this and you are in a position to mentor somebody, I want that to be your challenge going into this last quarter of the year for you. So thank you so much for sharing that experience. And I know firsthand, and it's far too common that women are put in positions where it's hard to get the support that they need. So um, knowing that we need support, what are the different types of mentorships that exist?
Okay, so I will just go back on the word you use, the exponential impact of mentoring in life. And it is true for any human being, both women and men. And especially when you're starting out new out of the college of with your credentials, with your degrees, you are invisible and you are considered no one. So if you can find good mentors and different types of mentoring in that regard, it is very helpful to put you on a right track. The types of mentoring, we talk about mentoring a lot in last 10 years. A lot of professional organizations and professions have embarked upon it, but understand that the formal mentoring program have their own objectives and criterias. Along with that, informal mentoring is also very important. So any and every person who in your life is helping you, some of them are truly your mentors. So keep an eye on that, and do not think that only the formal mentoring programs are the gold standard in that regard. Now, within the mentoring, coming from that classical times of 3,000 years to now, there are many different forms of mentoring. So it classically senior to junior, but your peers on both sides also are your mentors, and likewise you are their mentor. So it that is called peer mentoring. Then there is this whole constellation, or in common English, you will call it a network, which becomes your mentors or a constellation of mentoring network. So pay attention to that, and embrace them and include them in your developmental journey. When I say constellation of mentors, people ask, what does that mean? That means it can be, we talked about a colleague in the office who can be your peer mentor, but then there are friends in the profession who are not directly working with you, but they are part of your constellation of mentoring, and they can be of any experience level, any age group, but they become constellation of your mentoring network. The other group which you can tap into are your friends from your childhood, from the different pathways in your life, whether you go for a walk or you go for a run, and or you have met them somewhere else socially. They are part of your constellation of mentoring. So pay attention to them, and try to have that quality constellation in your life. Those different types of mentoring will really help you in moving forward in your professional and personal life.
I love that. I love that there's no cookie cutter for what mentor can be. I mean, it can be your peers in your organization, outside of your organizations. It can be your aunt, it can be your cousin, it could be so many different people that just come along in your life that can be supportive of your goals as a professional. And I'm going a little bit off script here, but I do have a question asking for a friend. But so if you have this constellation of mentors, which I love that title for it, what are some best practices as far as keeping in touch with folks? Because I feel like, especially a lot of women in STEM tend to be introverts. And so, knowing that you have all this network of people and you're supposed to keep in touch with them, that might feel a little overwhelming. So, do you have some best practices as far as how frequently you should reach out to people, or how do you keep people updated on what you're doing? Any quick tips for keeping your constellation network hot?
Okay, so you use the phrase cookie cutter. So there is no cookie cutter process on it. We are human beings. We are dynamic and we are organic in both senses. So even if you say, I will touch base with you once a month, sometimes it will not work with some people. And let me take a step back on the practices piece on it. It is very important to keep in contact and touch base with people whom you really align with, who resonate with you, even just for sharing a laugh, or sharing some kind of bad news with which happened to you. With my own experience, I find that the older the friends are, like if I have known them from grade one or my undergrad times, it does not matter how infrequently we keep in contact, but then when we get in touch base after saying how you are doing, we start from where we left off. The time has never happened. So keep that contact alive in that way, and once in a while send them a hi, hello, or I was thinking about you. And these days we have our social media devices in our on our fingertips, so send them that reminder that I remember you. Now for more formal or more newer contexts, identify people who really resonate with you at your heart and brain level. It does not matter which field, which background they come from, and try to meet up once every 3 months. If you cannot meet up digitally or physically, meet up through a old fashioned phone call also for 2 minutes or 5 minutes, but keep your contacts alive informally, and the way it work with you, you will be the best decision maker on how to keep those contacts going. But don't make it too formal, that where it becomes a burden on you and on the other person also, that oh my god, I have to do it. It depends when you need it, and people will really say respond to when you ask for help or support.
Wow, thank you for sharing that. And I think even for myself, like just knowing so many people, and then as you gain experience over the years, you meet more and more people. It kind of is like, well, how do I manage that? I mean, a 2 to 5 minute phone call every 3 months totally sounds doable, And so I know for you introverts, meeting people for the first time, asking them to, get to know you and everything, and then maintaining that relationship can sometimes be overwhelming. But like Dr. Farzana is saying, you are allowed to make it fit what works for you. You don't have to have a reminder on your phone every month to have a whole an hour Zoom with them. It doesn't have to be as regiment or as involved. We're all people, we're all busy. And so if you're able to make it work for you, as long as you're consistent, I think people tend to appreciate that over time. And the longer, like Dr. Farzana is saying, the longer you have those relationships, the more organic they are, and you can pick up right where you left off. I mean, I have friends from college. If I called them right now, I'd be like, "Hey guys, I haven't talked to you in like a year." It wouldn't matter, and vice versa. They could call me just the same, and I'd be excited to hear from them and hear how their life is going. So I think we forget that there's another person on the other line as well. And so the relationship is fulfilling on both sides. And so don't hold back. Continue to stay connected to your network. I totally went off script on that one, but thank you, Dr. Farzana. See, that's how I know. I know that you know this work, this inside and out. I knew you would have an answer for me. So we've already talked about why mentoring is important, but I don't think that we've mentioned what is the difference between mentoring and sponsoring. Can you help us understand that?
Yes, I will answer that in a second, but I want to share with you an interesting arrangement. One of the old friends I have who asked me to do that. He said, if you want to talk to me, it will be a phone call. We don't need to see each other, okay? Uh, and it is much more easier for all of us, for both of us to, because we can take a call while we are walking or driving or everything else. And so it is also about the other person and what makes it easy for them, not convenient but easy for them, because the whole idea is to keep in contact and keep the connection alive. Now, the difference between mentoring versus sponsoring, a lot of time we mix both the ideas together, that mentor is also supposed to be an sponsor. Yes and no, and more of a no. Mentor is someone who will be really vested in you from their heart, and vice versa. You will really respect them and trust them. So that relationship can go on forever in your lifetime. It is not, it is 2 years of mentoring. We will meet once a month. We will go over the checklist, and if when the time is up, I will move on to the next mentor, and you will move on to the next mentee. It is not that so. So, the example I gave you about the senior leader, senior most leader in my organization, yes, I was a mentee. I started as a junior person out of the university, and then in next 20 years, that became first became a colleague, equal relationship, friendship, and then just a true friendship where every time I will connect, the question will be asked about me and what I am doing and what I can do more. So it is, mentoring is a lifelong relationship when you are blessed enough to find those mentors, and I have that blessing in my life throughout up till now. Sponsors, on the other end, going back to the same example, a senior most leader or a person who is higher than you and in a position of opening a door by proactively advocating for you in an organization to get the next level of promotion or the next level of higher leadership role by the virtue of the power and privilege they have.
Mm,
And that sponsor sometimes can be the C-suite level leaders who really need someone to be groomed and move into those positions. Those can be one off or for a little bit until unless you are in that situation in that organization, and if you moved out of there you lose that sponsor. Now when I said it can be both, so it depends if your mentor also have that kind of a power and privilege to help move you up in that regard, and can open doors more in different ways and forms. So a mentor can be an sponsor, but every sponsor might not be a mentor for you. Everyone has good capabilities and capacities, but do not expect that your mentor will be able to help you and sponsor you in moving up the ladder. Maybe not in the organization, but outside of that. And there are many more stories about it, but I will stop here because you have to understand that your expectation from mentor should not always be for the sponsorship also, but a sponsor will always do that for you if you find one.
Nice. So sponsoring is really about using their position, their authority, their power to help open doors for you to move forward. It's really about creating the opportunity for you to move forward.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I love that. And I just want to add to it that this person does not always have to be within your organization. It makes the most sense for them because, like, I mean, if you're trying to get a promotion or you're trying to get assigned to a project, that's the most direct way. But you have people that sit on boards, you have people that award scholarships, you have, other organizations. And so, um, think about what you need out of your career, and it might not be internal to your organization, and that might be an opportunity for you to network and try and position yourself for sponsorship outside. So I've had people sponsor me from external of my organization in many different ways, um, actually more frequently than internal to my organization, because they're trying to help these auxiliary organizations move forward, and they're trying to encourage engagement and stuff. And so I just want you to know that at the core of it, it's really about creating opportunities and helping you move things forward. And I want you to get creative and think outside of the box, because it doesn't have to be someone within your organization. It doesn't have to always just be about you moving to the next role. You are a whole person. You have whole goals. So look at them in a holistic manner and know that you can get support in every area of your life. And so thank you, Dr. Farzana, for today. This has been absolutely amazing. I hope you guys got some really good nuggets here on mentorship and sponsorship. And I hope that you're really understanding that you can make it work for you, and you can make it feel good and authentic to you. And it doesn't have to be this creepy elevator pitch sort of thing. It can be lifelong relationships that really start from supporting each other. So I really want to thank you, Dr. Farzana, for sharing your insights with us. And I cannot get off of here without mentioning that we have a 1 day explosive summit coming up in October, where we're going to be talking about money management, time management, really getting confidence over your mistakes, and so many more amazing things that help women get ownership over the things that are holding them back in their lives. Me and Dr. Farzana have an amazing session planned on turning your mistakes into money, not actual money, but I'm saying into gold. We're gonna make your mistakes work for you, and we're gonna show you how. So that's our session. I'm really excited for that one. But all of the sessions are going to be transformative. So if you have not yet got your ticket to our Savvy Ownership Summit, please do. We're dropping links. They're somewhere down here. They're in the comments. So go ahead and register and submit your questions. So if you have questions on today's topic of mentorship, you can go ahead and submit them. If you have questions on the topics that we will be presenting, submit them so that you get the most out of the event. Because really, it's all about making sure that you use these advice, these tactics, all of these things that we're giving you, and make it fit for you and make it authentic to you. So if you're able to ask those questions ahead of time, we'll be able to tailor some of our advice to you specifically. So I look forward to seeing you at our 1 day summit. Dr. Farzana, thank you so much for today. And thank you all for joining us on the She Has Infinite Potential ship. And it was a pleasure being your captain today. Again, my name is Malia. And until next time, guys, ship shape.
Thank